Here we go. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you could be here today alongside Jan from the Save Money and More channel. Hey, Jan, how are you doing?
Hey, Steve. Hey, everybody.
From what I understand, you got some tips that you want to share.
Well, yeah, so let's start with two things: paying ourselves first and emergency funds. Now, for some people, these sound like a pipe dream. Yeah, right, Jan, can't do it. Sure, sure, sure. It's just too hard to do it. But I'm going to break it down. Just want to mention that I have a longer form content. Of course, my bird clock is going off, even on your channel, Steve. I have a longer form version about this matter in about 1 week time. And also that my time slot has changed to 5 a.m. daily, uploads once a day. But I want to talk to you today about paying yourself first and emergency funds. Can we do both at the same time? And the simple answer is yes. Here's the
Hmm.
biggest problem that people have with paying themselves first. They get the big idea that I'm going to pay myself first by paying themselves last. Huh? What does that mean? In other words, typically, let's say a pay period comes around and people pay everything out. And then, well, if I have maybe a palsy, a paltry $20 left out of it, that little feeble amount, no, no, that's not going to do anything for paying yourself first or for an emergency fund. Rather than that, and I know this sounds really sticky, take X number of dollars out first. Henceforth, pay yourself first. Okay. Now, let's say you want to pay yourself $300 a month, but that's not feasible because you do have your other bills and you did go over them. That's totally okay. Make a decision to pay another number. But what about the emergency fund, Jan? You mentioned that as well. Knock it down to, instead of $300 a month, to $200 a month, but we're going to break it down further. $100 a month will go to paying yourself first. The other $100 per month or per pay period, whatever way you do it, will be going towards an emergency fund. Steve, realistically, most people in 2025 can certainly put aside on a monthly basis $200. Now, while I'm not 1,000% set on automatic payments for bill payments, I am 100% happy with automated savings taken out of your pay every time towards savings. And you could break it down at the same time. It is possible, even if it's a lesser of a number, it is a consistent, realistic number. And that's the goal. And I really get into it, like I said, next week. But, Steve, what do you think about this idea in general?
Well, you just mentioned $200 a month to set aside. Okay, if you stop and do the math, you have 30 days in a month. So that's basically, let me see, 3 into 20 is 6. So you're basically setting aside about $6.60 a day that you're not touching. That's because that's what it breaks down to, is about six. So you might as well just round it off and make it $7, which would give you 210
Look
at
at
the end of
that. I love that you broke it down further. That's excellent.
if you go the $300 route, which is about $10 a day. If you have the means to do it, do it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, even at $210, what is that? Let's see, 300, what is that? 3,600 at the end of a year. And then if you do the 200, that's 2,400. So that's still that's still a decent amount of money that 1 year later you have that you didn't have the year prior when you first started. You're just starting out with a measly, what is it, $7 a day, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. But the wise thing to do would be to take the $7, times however amount of days in the week, which is 7. What is that? $49. Just take $49 or whatever it is and just put it in an envelope or don't touch it, set it aside, and every week add to it, add to it, add to it, add to it. And then at the end of the month, you'll reach that figure that you just mentioned. But
And they're going into two separate directions. I'm sorry, you were about to say something?
it went into 2 separate directions. Yeah, that's true too. Um, but if you take the money, put it in an envelope, set it aside, wherever you put it, you could put it in a pocket of a jacket, you could put it underneath your bed. That's an old trick if there ever was one. But um, put it in a place that you're gonna let the money just sit and build and you know where it's at, that you're not going to touch it.
And a
Um,
high yielding interest account, if at all possible, is a great safe
if you
idea as well.
right, right, if you have the means to put it in a but the high yield, yeah, you do earn a little bit more interest on it. It's not that that extravagant from a regular checking account, but you will earn a little bit more. Like the dividends that I earn on my account, I might earn 1 or 2 cents a month, which I'm okay with that. But in a high yield, you might earn 30, 40 cents on that money, just to give you an example. Because I think the high yield at my credit union, I believe the interest rate is 0.40 or 0.45, about a half of a percent. So yeah,
And another, go ahead.
that would be better than if you leave it in an account where you only earn like 0.10 or 0.09, where you're not going to even earn
Yeah,
much.
shop around. I do agree, though, that for some folks, they may be better off working with actual cash because some folks do like another silly thing, in my opinion, utilizing ATM fees constantly taking out $20 bills 4 times a week. Especially if you're taking them out of the network of the branch that you use, a bank, and you're paying all those exorbitant fees. A lot of people lose tons of money month in and month out. What some people lose in a month, they literally could be putting away towards their emergency
Yeah.
fund,
Mhm.
towards paying themselves first. And by the way, Steve, trying to save $7 to $10 a day these days is a lot easier, believe it or not, considering people don't mind spending $5 or $6 a day on outside coffee, which is absolutely
It is.
ridiculous if you're struggling to make ends meet. It's one
Mhm.
thing if you have it and there's no question about it. You don't blink an eyelash and you could do it. You're living comfortably. There's no ish. But if you do have a few more issues than you should with money, instead of spending it on needless things like that, make yourself a very special coffee at home before you leave. Save that $6 or $7 a day. Put that towards paying yourself first. Put that towards emergency funding. We can do it. We just have to want to do it. It's all about method, planning ahead, and just giving up some frivolous stuff, really.
It is. It is. I guess this is we're going into April, but this was probably back in February. Yeah, I believe it was February. I had gone over to my credit union and I went and talked to one of the people at one of the desks, not the teller itself. And in the course of me talking to the lady, she was very kind. She says, "Well, I can go ahead," in the course of the conversation kind of led into this. She said, "Well, I can go ahead and sign you up for it's something called easy checking." What that did is, um, if I go to a ATM and it charges me a $2, $3 fee to get money, Um, Navy Federal, and I've been with them now for 31 years as of this month. Navy Federal will refund me back that money. So I never have to
Wow.
worry about paying. a fee at an ATM because if I go to one, let's say dire need emergency, I need money, but that's the only mean that I could get money. Yeah, Navy Federal will flip it back to me. They'll give it back. And I do like that. Whereas my other credit union won't do that. So you got to be very careful with the other one. You have to go to an assigned ATM that they recommend. Otherwise, you pay the fee. But I do like that about Navy Federal. They
Hmm.
are a very good credit union. I
Yeah.
personally, I personally feel, and I'm not trying to talk almighty about them, and I'm not trying to sponsor them, but anybody who's got a Navy Federal credit union account will understand why I personally think you get in with them, you've got the best credit union there is, period, hands down. But that's me.
Excellent. Well, at
Yeah,
least it's a hopeful thing that people literally can save and to save for different things simultaneously in an affordable manner. It's just a matter of math and simple planning. Thanks for having me here, Steve.
you're welcome. And this was an interesting, conversation. For those that think that they cannot save money, I think that's I think that's ridiculous because anybody can. Do you have to have $10? No, you don't. You could just as easily accomplish the same goal. I mean, we've talked about it before. You've mentioned it many times before in the past on your channel. I've mentioned it on my channel. You could start an emergency fund with as little as $1.
That's right.
Now, that's only going to give you 7 a week, and that's only going to give you $28 a month. But it's still bringing you a little money. What if you're, what if you, I personally would, I don't mind the $1 a day. I personally would do the $2 a day. I like it better because
Yeah,
that would give me $14, a week. And then at the end of the month, instead of 28, I'll have 56. So
that's
let's
right.
say, let's say if you need to go to the grocery store and you need a few things to hold you over until your money comes in, you got $56 to work with.
There you go.
I mean, I went to the store earlier this morning and bought a few things that I needed, and I spent 38.
Yes.
So, um, but no, it'll hold you over if you have it. Definitely, make use of it.
And
That's what.
Steve, I just want to close off mentioning this, excuse me just
Yeah,
for a second. Most
yeah,
people think they don't have it, but if they actually analyze and look at their numbers, they may be pleasantly surprised to see they do have it by just looking at the frivolous stuff that really can be knocked off the bill and put towards savings.
that's right. Yeah, so it always pays. Now, if you have 56 at the end of the month and you don't need it, great. That following month you're going to have $112 staring at you instead of 56 because you're doubling it, and then you just add to it. And if you keep on that $56 trajectory, 56, 56. At the end of a year, you might be a little surprised. I don't have the figures, but it sounds like, it would be, uh, you know, a few $100s, that's for sure. Well, anyway, guys, glad you could stop by. You're welcome, Janet. I'm glad you could be here.
Yeah, it
And
was great.
yeah, so definitely keep that in mind. You can save money. For those that say that you can't, I disagree. Well, I or you or we will see you guys next time. And, you know, if you like what you see, give me a like. And if you're passing by, please subscribe. And of course, also the same with Janet. She's got a channel,
Thank
Save Money
you.
and More with Jan. So go over and check her channel out if you're just passing by and see what she has to offer. Well, I hope all of you have a great whatever time of day it is, and I or we will see you back here next time. Bye.
Bye bye.